Today we're going to do an air filter change. I've already removed the 2 seat bolts and removed the seat and set them aside. So let's go ahead and take out the air filter. We got to untighten the wing nut here. So we're going to loosen that up. Once we get the wing nut out, we're going to set that aside on the rear fender. It's a good place for it. We'll come back to that and clean it out later. So then we remove the air filter. On a CRF, the best way to remove the air filter is there's 2 little tangs on the air filter itself. You rotate it up and then you can slide it out real gently, trying not to get any debris down in the air boot. As you can see, this air filter has been ran through a race, so we're going to go out and clean that thing. Now that we've reached our cleaning area, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and clean our air filter with the Twin Air cleaning solution. It's a really good system, comes with all the parts that you need to properly maintain your air filter. And you can purchase that on our website at precisionconceptsracing.com. I'm going to remove the air filter from its cage and slide the air filter off the cage. Once we have the air filter off the cage, then we're going to open up our cleaning solution. Always keeping the lid on it, that way none of it dissolves and loses its potency. Now I like to submerge it facing down so that none of the debris goes right into the top, into the clean side of the air filter. Inside this tub there's a grit guard. This little grit guard keeps any of the debris from getting back onto your air filter. Now that the air filter is all clean, we're going to move on into the sink area and wash this off with really warm water. The reason why we want to wash it off with the really warm water is to get that cleaning solution out of the air filter. We're also going to use Dawn soap to help cut that solvent so it goes away, so that when we re-oil the air filter, it'll cling to the foam much better. Also, one of the other things you want to really make sure is while you're cleaning it with the Dawn soap, which does also cut away any of the excess oil that maybe the solvent didn't wash away, you'll be able to see it suds up inside the air filter. And once the suds are really thick, you'll know that this thing is as clean as possible. Once this suds all the way up, we'll go ahead and rinse it one final time and set it aside to dry. You can also use a fan to blow it dry in a shorter amount of time. And also, the reason why I'm using these nice rubber gloves is to keep myself safe from this solvent. Any solvent can dry out your skin and it actually can crack and it doesn't feel very good. So that's why we use these protective gloves. Now that we've cleaned our air filter, we've rinsed it out and it's dry, we're ready to oil this thing. But before we do that, we want to let you know a little bit about this cleaning solution. If you use a no-toil product, you cannot use this cleaning solution. It'll ruin the air filter oil that is inside of it, and it'll also ruin the solvent that you have here. So what you want to do is make sure that you really know what product you're using on your air filter. So now we're going to go ahead and oil our air filter, making sure that you always put the lid back on your oil filter oil, because if you do not, it'll dry out and it'll be very gummy and sticky and it'll be worthless. So making sure you have a really good tight seal around this air filter oil, we're going to go ahead and oil this sucker. Dunking it completely into the air filter oil, you want to really make sure you get a good solid coating of this air filter oil. Now that we've wringed it out as best as we possibly can, that's where the paper towels come in handy. What I like to do is I like to take the paper towels and roll them up and then wring it out some more in these paper towels. You'll go through quite a few paper towels to make sure that you get the proper consistency on your air filter. The paper towels are going to take any excess off, and as you can see, there's a lot of oil still in there. So we still got a little bit of work to do. As you can see, it's getting thinner. The oil's getting dispersed into the paper towels quite nicely. We're going to do it one last time, I believe. Should be final. Now the air filter is all nice and evenly coated with the Twin Air oil, we can go ahead and place it on our freshly clean screen. Now what you want to do is you just want to place this tab inside your rubber O-ring there. Press it on there nicely. And then sliding the air filter rim around the cage. Also making sure that that locating tab clips over the air filter cage locating pin. A little difficult with the rubber gloves, not much traction there. There you go. Now you have a freshly oiled air filter on your cage ready to install. Let's go install it. Now that we got a freshly oiled air filter and our clean wing nut, we're going to go ahead and put these together and set them aside. We have our contact cleaner and a nice paper towel. What we're going to go ahead and do, we're going to take our contact cleaner and spray it on the paper towel. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to clean the rim around where the air filter seats, making sure that we don't drop any dirt or grime into the air boot. As you can see, it's not very dirty in our air box, but we're going to wipe it down and make sure it's real nice and clean, because after all, this is one of the most vital points of your motor. You know, all your fresh air gets going right into there, into the carburetor, into your engine. You don't want any dirt going in there. So she looks good. We're going to install that air filter. First off, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to put a nice thin layer of grease around the sealing surface. That prevents any extra dirt getting around the sealing surface, which is very important. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our lovely Maxima waterproof grease, which you can purchase on our website, precisionconceptsracing.com. All right. We're going to go ahead and take a generous portion, but we're going to layer it out real thin like. We don't want to put a lot in a certain area. We want to thin it out. I'm just going to spread it around here, make a nice, you'll see a nice solid ring, and that's what you want. You don't want any breaks, because where the least amount of resistance is where your dirt is going to pass. So you want a nice thin even layer. Got a little bit more right in this corner here. All right. She's ready to install. Looks real nice. There's no way dirt's getting in there. So now what we got our two tabs right here. So that lets us know how to install it. Being careful. Now you want to rotate. There's a single tab that you can rotate on. And then you just put that offset just slightly off center. There's actually an arrow on the air box. And you're going to want to make sure that it lines up nice. There you go. You can feel it lock in nice and tight. Then we can start our wing nut. If it isn't locked in properly, the wing nut will not start because it's not aligned properly. So if it does start, you know you're on there real nice and good. What you want to do also is put your hand down in there and feel around, making sure that you feel that it's sealing around the surface in the airbox. Now that we've installed the air filter, it's going to take about a half hour for it to breathe properly. So what we're going to do is go ahead and install the seat bolts, and you're ready to ride.